gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. It's another Wednesday, and here I am, joined by the lovely James Gosling. Good afternoon to you, James. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much for running around the office. So nobody else could see this or understood it. But the first time you came on and you were in this room and it was very boomy, so you went to another one and that was boomy, but you've kicked all the team out of the HR office. So they're having an early lunch. So thanks to them. So you're sounding lovely now. You're looking gorgeous. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, please, James.
Well, my name's James Gosling. I'm a director at AJ Chambers and I head up our mergers and acquisitions division. A little bit of background on me. I spent just under 10 years at Coutts Bank in London. I was a media and entertainment specialist on the commercial side. So I looked after businesses in record labels, publishing labels, distribution companies. Ashley is very keen to hear more on that.
Yeah. So those of you listening on the podcast didn't see me pick up my guitar. Can I have an audition? Do you know anybody that might sign me up? Maybe.
And so I spent 8 years there. After leaving Coutts, which is coming up to its 10-year anniversary, actually, I set up a record label with a business partner of mine, and we also had a management arm to that, as well as having a M&A boutique. So a lot of my high net worth clients I had at Coutts engaged me on their commercial transactions post my Coutts days. So that was involved in an acquisition of a professional football club in Europe, all the way through to a private island in the Seychelles. So I joined AJ Chambers 4 years ago to head up the mergers and acquisition division. They've been around for about 15 years, specialising in recruitment for the accountancy and legal practice market. So for me, bringing my commercial skills and combining that with the network that AJ Chambers had built up seemed like a very nice fit.
No, absolutely fantastic. What a great backstory, James. Oh, we've only got half an hour. It says 15 minutes, but we've only got half an hour. And so we're not going to be able to go into all of that. But obviously we started off, all of this because you help accountants and bookkeepers with M&A. And I think that's the buzzword, isn't it? Which is mergers and acquisitions. So let me just make sure I've got this right. Mergers and acquisitions. So I'm working really well. I can see another business that aligns with we merge, and then we're really, really brilliant, and we want to buy another company. That's an acquisition. Is that correct?
That's pretty much correct. Yeah.
Fantastic. So
huge version.
You do all the mediation, make sure everyone can talk to each other, and it's all fine and dandy. Is that what am I right? Is that what you do?
Precisely that. So we work with from sole practitioners all the way up to the larger businesses that are taking on private equity investment at this point in time. We've been involved in a number of those conversations as well. We work with both buyer and sellers. So we may have someone that exactly that is looking to grow via acquisition. We will work closely with them and help them identify potential targets to acquire and get involved in the process from cradle to grave. And likewise, we've got those that are maybe thinking about retirement, thinking about their exit plan, and we'll talk to them and help them find the right acquirer and exit for them. Likewise, on occasion, we'll have people that are looking to exit that are thinking 3-5 years away. We'll work with them to make sure that their practice is in ship-shape order, so that when they are ready to press the go button on conversations, they're maximising value and maximising the attractiveness to potential acquirers.
No, fantastic. That makes a lot of sense. So you work with accountants and bookkeepers, and you have been for the last 4 years. So do you actually help them buy and merge with other accountancy practices, or do you help their clients merge and buy their types of businesses? Where do you come in?
So this is an interesting conversation. So for the last 4 years, it's certainly been themselves. So the accountancy practice owners, we help them grow our acquisition or sell or merge. We've got an exciting announcement actually in a few months' time.
Oh, I thought we were going to get an exclusive.
No.
Oh,
we are expanding into the wider SME commercial market, so we will be able to assist the accountancy practice clients with their own M&A matters as well. Which there's a number of corporate finance houses that are already within the accountancy practices that would love to work with us because they don't necessarily want to do the trading part or the actual transaction part. They'd rather do the advisory piece. And likewise, there's plenty of accountancy practices up and down the UK and Ireland that do not have any corporate finance or M&A offering. So that we're able to add value to their clients and also not have the competition there for them as well.
Sure. So yeah, like you say, proper cradle to grave, and we're all working together, we're all collaborating, and we're getting the end goal. I don't know whether this whether you'd make any reference from this, but are you like Cilla Black?
Blind dates.
Yes.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. But just not in the fun game show format.
Yeah, it's a little bit more serious, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, fantastic. No, that's good. So you obviously know James. James knows you. So James meet James.
Hi,
Hi, James. How you doing? So James was on my show a few weeks ago. So what challenges are you seeing our accountants and bookkeepers having at the moment, James?
Yeah, well, look, the main two are certainly succession right now and recruitment, and that's both talent attraction and talent retention. Which is the other side to AJ Chambers, as we mentioned. It's got the specialist recruitment side, so we're able to assist there. And then they're very closely. There's a third, which is also driving a lot of the M&A activity that we're seeing within the accountancy practice market at the moment. And that's more just the general day-to-day running of a business. Maybe not so in the large businesses because they've got a lot more infrastructure and resource around them, but certainly the mid-size to the smaller firms. You know, being a sole practitioner or a 2 or 3 partner firm, it's not as easy as it used to be. You've got all the compliance type work you've got to do. You've got to be HR, you've got to be marketing, and you've got to wear all these different hats. And actually, a lot of the partners that we speak to that are looking to exit or looking to merge, their number one thing for them is, I just want to go back to looking after my clients and doing what I love, rather than all this other heavy lifting that's behind me and what comes with running the practice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm a small business owner. I wear all the hats. It's just me.
Yes.
And you know, I work with accountants and bookkeepers, helping them with their businesses. And you see some of them, they've got like 20 staff. They're not doing what they trained to do, what they love doing, what the passion was. They're running a huge business, but they're not doing the fun stuff. And I, you know, I love all the fun stuff. And so, and this is the thing. So I'm a practitioner now then, and I've got like 20 staff, and I'm that person I just described. How can you help me?
So, you know, first and foremost, it's really understanding what the individual is looking for, the partners of the firm. What are they looking for themselves? You know, are they looking to exit and move on to something else, or is it more a case of realigning and being re-energized by doing the things that they do enjoy? And then ultimately, what are they looking for the business? Are they driven financially, or is it about finding a good long-term home where they can carry on to build value within that business? So it's not a one size fits all. It's very nuanced, and you tailor it. And that's obviously where we come in. But certainly we can understand what you're looking for. We know the market. We've got plenty of acquirers or other parties, especially potential investors, for example, that may be looking to support you. So because of our knowledge within the market, we really are able to at least point you in the right direction. And going back to your Cilla Black comment, it'd be good for us to, you know, give you 3 options. This is what we think would be absolutely vital for you. This is what we think you might not understand at the moment, but actually once you have a conversation, it will be beneficial for all the things you're trying to achieve. And then we might have the wild card, if you like, because there's a few strands of synergy or shared ethos between the acquiring party or the other party compared to the individual that we're speaking to as well. Yeah,
no, I get that, and I'm bringing TV into it again. So now I'm thinking location with Phil and Kirsty, because they get people in you know, they turn around and go, oh, I want a 3-bedroom house by here, and every now and again they throw in a wild card, and it's because that's it. You know, I'm running this practice. I hate it. I just want to sell it. You might turn around and go, well, actually, there's another practice down the road, up the road, wherever. And they're feeling the same, but I think you two could get together and create this super business that allows you to do all of those things. And so does that ever happen where I'm thinking of getting rid, and then you end up I'm merging with somebody?
Absolutely, and I guess that's one of the values that we can bring, is that we've seen most of the people that are speaking to us haven't trodden this path before. We've seen it. We've helped people go through that path to the other side. So yeah, always thinking commercially, especially within our network, that tying up the loose ends or connecting dots, if you like. But likewise as well, a lot of people have got an idea in their head of what they're wanting from any transaction or next chapter. And actually, a lot of the time, once they start going through the process, we've seen from our own experience that changes and that alters when they have other conversations, because they might have not thought about a certain subject or a certain area of the business, whereas we're able to see that ahead of time. So we like them to realize it themselves by setting up those conversations. And then there's nothing better than after an initial meeting or a conversation with another party, they pick up the phone. James, I hadn't even thought about that, but actually, this is what I now want. And that's our job.
Yeah, but this is exactly the same as an accountant or a bookkeeper, isn't it? They'll have a client coming in and, I need you to do my tax. Well, hang on a minute, you did a little, and before they know it, they're giving all this advisory and really helping that business grow and do other things, because they've never really thought about it, because they're working with an expert, and that's what you are. I've got a question here. I've got a question here for you, right off the wall, and I really do apologize for it, but you used to work with artists, singers and bands and stuff like that. And I just nod if any would be famous and I may have heard of them. I don't need to know who they are. Yes, you did. Right. So how do they compare working with, compared to accountants and bookkeepers? Because they are totally different, aren't they? Aren't they totally different?
Well, human emotion stays the same, human dynamic, but
yes, absolutely.
Accountants and bookkeepers are, of course, a little bit more versed in business, whereas a lot of the artists I'm dealing with are very creative individuals, and there's often not a lot of logic to the conversations that come out, because they're being quite creative.
Sure. No, brilliant.
It's fun times on both sides.
Yeah, and the thing is, so I've been in the accounting space now since 2007, and I cannot see me working anywhere else, because they're just so brilliant, and they know so much, which is absolutely great. But they also know that if they don't know something, they go and find an expert. Yes. And this is where people like yourself and me come in. So we've talked about the challenges, and how you can help them. What sort of things could they be doing to help themselves without coming to speak to you first? Because, is it sort of like, can you give me some advice so I'm ready for all of this, or can you point me in the right direction? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we are first speaking to potential sellers, for example, all those that are looking to acquire, and they need to make sure they're ready, general housekeeping, of course. Making sure that all your internal reporting, financial and non-financial, is as it should be. Client files are as they should be. Your tech stack or your software is sorted. All the contracts to deal with that are sorted. If you're looking to sell, maybe not enter into a long-term lease, because that could, derail any conversations. Employee contracts are as they should be. All of those general things that any good business owner should have in place. Governance, for example. But when you're running a business, as we said, you've got many hats, and sometimes those things do slip aside. So to make sure that's all in place. But one thing I do mention to a lot of those that are just starting out as accounting practice owners, and a lot of people don't think about the end game when they're first entering into entrepreneurship or their business, and they're very excited. It's all about growth. What can I do? This is my idea. This is my mission statement and my vision. Actually, when you start your business, from day one, you should be thinking about, what is my end goal? So what you want to achieve, maybe financially and non-financially, what sort of age you might want to reach that at, what look and feel you want your business to have, which ties into the vision. But from day one, you should be preaching and making sure that you're operating in that exact way that you want to, so you are ready for when you are ready to sell, because everything should be in order. There's a very nice clean history there. Clean dynamic, a lot of consistency, and for any acquirer, that just takes away any reservations that may be in place, because you can see that there's been a clear mandate from start to finish. And a lot of people just don't think that at the start of their journey when they're setting up their businesses.
No, you're quite right. They don't. But the thing is, it's like, I need to get some clients in. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need some business cards. I need some colors around my live show. Pavel, good afternoon. Pavel is here every single week. Good to see you, sir. Okay. So I've just set up my accounting business. and I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. Is it worth me coming to have a chat with you now? Because then you can sort of like put me in the right direction. Do you have any tools or booklets or anything that you could get me to read or anything?
For sure, we have that numerous times where there's someone that's just set up, or they might have left one of our clients, for example, to set up on their own, and they'll give us a call. And for us, it's more pointing you in the right direction of that trajectory, and then just touching base periodically. Whether it's once a quarter, once every 6 months, annually, just to touch base, see what journey you're on, where you've developed the business, and we're quite happy to have those conversations up until you do decide to sell. There's a perfect example of when I first joined AJ Chambers. There was an individual that was looking to really disrupt and be very tech focused, which obviously is becoming the norm now. But earlier on, 4 years ago, it wasn't so much, and he's now built up the business very well. But we touch base every 6 months, first of all, and then we decided that let's just touch base annually. And now this year, they're in a position where they are looking to sell to a larger firm so that they can take a step back and be a little bit more of an ambassadorial role and go back to doing what they enjoy, which is talking about tech in accounting.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Look, we're not here long. We've got to have fun, haven't we? Got to do the things that bring us joy.
And for us, it's about building relationship. The more I know about you and your business over the course of a few years, when it does actually come to transaction time, we're going to have a really good relationship and be able to speak quite frankly. But I know the inner workings of your business, which is only going to make it easier.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing. I'm guessing not many people come to you, say, I want to sell my practice, and then next week it's sold.
Very seldom. Unfortunately, on occasion we've had where there might be a passing, and someone's unfortunately passed away, and the family are picking up the pieces and they're giving me the call to help out. But a lot of the time, no. I mean, it's usually a year in advance of them wanting to get into any sort of transaction conversation.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm listening to this right now, and I'm sort of like thinking, yeah, maybe that is a thing for me. So give us a little breakdown. What would happen, and how would you start interacting with me? Before you do that, Philip has come up with a great point. It is always good to be in a position to do what you do enjoy most. And so many business owners set up to do that, and then they get stuck in the weeds, don't they? So yeah, good point, Philippa. I hope you're not stuck in the woods, Philippa. Weeds even. Yeah. So go on then. So what would actually happen? You come in, you have a cup of coffee with me, and where do we go from there, James?
Precisely. Yeah. So first of all, it's a case of we have Zoom meeting, face to face, coffee, whatever, and we'll sit down, get to understand the business. Lift up the bonnet and really understand the inner workings of the business, as well as the headlines and top level overview. And then, as I said, the most important thing for me is understanding the drivers and the makeup of the individuals involved. Naturally, the more individuals there are involved, i.e. partners at the top, it becomes a little bit more convoluted, and maybe there's not everyone is pointing in the same direction or wanting the same things. But again, the beauty of the way the accounting industry has evolved more recently is that we can now tailor-make roles in the next chapter for each to fit those individual needs and requirements. That's a great thing that's happened over the last few years, where things have moved on. So yeah, after that initial meeting, we'll then have NDAs signed, or if you're an acquirer, have our terms of business signed. I can then go back and give a few options of what I would recommend we do, or who we would recommend we reach out to. Confidentiality is of utmost importance to us, so nobody's name will be mentioned until they give me the green light. Myself and my team then will do either some market mapping or go out to our network that we already know is there and have some discreet conversations. And if there is an initial interest from another party, whether that be an acquirer or a seller, we then look to set up an initial meeting between them both. And this initial meeting really is much the same as the initial meeting with myself, where it's just getting to know each other. Because at the end of the day, whatever happens, if you conclude a deal, you're going to have to work with each other for a period of time. So yeah, make sure you find out if someone you can work with. Obviously, get to understand the business a little bit more. After that meeting, I'll debrief with both parties and see if they are wanting to commit some more time to discussions. If they are, usually at this time, there'll be a bit more financial information that we send: year-end accounts, management accounts, and non-financial. So it could be staff schedules, could be a breakdown of leases, etc. Once that information is switched, there will be some questions that will come back from both sides. And then usually after that first or second round worth of questioning, if the acquirer is interested, they'll put a proposal forward, indicative offer as we call it. And likewise on the other side, the sellers will receive that indicative offer, and then they can consider that. There's some negotiation at that point, naturally, which again we lead and we're involved in. I think that's a pertinent point to make, actually. For us, one of the main things is that the goodwill remains between both parties, so that that relationship has been built during the process, so to speak. Let me play bad cop, or let my team play bad cop. We'll do negotiations and have those contentious conversations. And then hopefully at the end of those negotiations, a deal's been agreed. We'll then move to heads of terms and to paper that. And obviously that's when we get lawyers involved. Again, for our network, we work with various corporate lawyers, and we can bring them in if needed. If not, sometimes the accountants have got their own lawyers already that they use, which is not a problem. Heads of terms are signed. Then we head into due diligence. And then during that process, the SPA or the final contracts are drafted, and again negotiations back and forth on the finer details there as well. And then we have completion. And I guess in average, to give you an idea on timescale, from the first initial meeting through to completion, anywhere between 3 and 6 months is on average. But depending on time of year, it can extend to 12 months. We actually completed a deal late last year that had been running for 18 months or so. So yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a practice where they've got an awful lot of partners, because there's lots of things to take into consideration and things like that. Yeah, no. Sounds like you have to be a really good diplomat.
Yeah. You certainly know how to. I guess a chameleon, that's what I've been called sometimes. Where you need to and have the emotional intelligence to understand, because it's not just black and white. It's understanding the humans that are involved and the personalities that are involved as well. And
this is where your dealing with rock stars comes in, because you'd have had a few egos there, I'm sure. So no, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. So what's your best story of how you've helped a bookkeeper or an accountant? And you could keep it clean, you don't have to tell us the names, but what's the best story, the one with the happy ending and everyone cracking champagne?
I think most people would probably think about the largest deals they've done, which some of the private equity type conversations that we've had would be great. But actually, for me, I really enjoy those stories where you do get the feedback from the owners of the business, and you've radically changed their business or their life. They feel better for it. They're happier. And there was one such example down in Kent last year, where it was a 3-partner firm. Unfortunately, one of the partners had passed away suddenly, unexpectedly. And the 2 remaining partners, let's say, didn't quite see eye to eye. And there was there was a little bit of conversation that had to happen there. But actually, the family of the deceased took up his shares that was there, and it was quite tough. I had to be a mediator for a while, play an agony aunt, as well as speaking to the deceased family and the 2 partners, and trying to find some sort of level playing field for them to agree and compromise. At one point, we did have to bring in lawyers just to help on the technical pieces. But actually, after all of that, and it was quite painful, there was a lot of harsh words said and strong words said, but we managed to find that runway where everyone was quite happy. The family of the deceased managed to realise the value that their father had built up over the years, which was great. So they could see his blood, sweat and tears over the years. And the remaining partner found a nice new home where she was quite happy to carry on working. And then the other individual actually ended up retiring and not moving forward with the business at all, or moving to another transaction. So for me, to see how the 3 elements all come together and everyone was happy, even though it was quite a dark situation to start off with. For me, that was one of those where I come away from it. I was like, that was good to be part of that, and we've actually made a real difference on the other side. Yeah, did some good work that day. Excellent. Thank you very much for your time today. I've got one more question for you before we disappear. But first of all, how can people get hold of you, James? So my email address is james.gosling@aj-chambers.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Our website as well, which is www.aj-chambers.com. you'll find my contact details on there as well. We'll be delighted to hear from you.
No, fantastic. And you'll put those in the go back into LinkedIn and drop those in there, and they're going to be on the show notes on the podcast. So that's absolutely superb. So I've got one more question. I've just got to give us a shout out to who I've got on my show next week. But before next week, on Tuesday, I am bringing in my brand new show, and I'm going to be going not live on LinkedIn anymore. I'm just going to go to YouTube because I'm going to be helping people more with LinkedIn. So I've got John Esperian helping me with that. And that is going to be next Tuesday. But next Wednesday for Accountants and Bookkeepers, I've got the lovely Tim and Duncan. They're coming to talk to us about Profit First. I think they know a little bit about that. And that is episode 106. Can you believe that? James, my final question then, sir.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at primary school, running around the playground in your shorts, what did you want to be when you grew up?
For me, it was always a PE teacher. All the way through infant school and secondary school, I just wanted to be a PE teacher. My PE teachers were like the coolest guys at school, and I love my sports. So yeah, but that didn't pan out.
No, I think you've had a more fun since, haven't you?
Yeah, I must admit, I've been very blessed. It's been a great journey, and all the experiences that I had have kind of bring me to where I am today. And yeah, could be happy. I wouldn't change a thing.
No, that's absolutely perfect. And will you be at any of the accounting shows so we can come and see you there?
Yes, I attend all the main conferences. This year, I'm actually speaking at the Digital Accountancy Show as well. I'll be joined by 3 other practice owners, and we'll be talking all things M&A at the Digital Accountancy Show as well in
Awesome.
April.
Awesome. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Thanks for everyone, all the comments and questions. And I will see you very, very soon. Cheerio now.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Get out what you put in. Never gonna